Ascended Heroes is shaping up to be a GOAT set, though will this make the scalping situation even worse? Now before I dive deep into this video, I actually am gifting this Team Rocket's Houndoom illustration rare to one subscriber. Now if I reply to your comment with this Charmander emoji, then congratulations, this card is coming your way. And hey, if you are new to the channel, welcome aboard. My name's Phil and I run this Pokemon investing and collecting YouTube channel. Feel free to subscribe to stay in the loop for consistent Pokemon TCG content. But Ascended Heroes is seriously looking like a step up, and I'll be going through the reveals of these cards in a second, but it's really putting into perspective on how Pokemon cards continuously level up. I think when we're looking at some of the reveals of Ascended Heroes, it's really taking a new direction for how good artworks can be. I mean, I spoke about this in a previous video, that the Pokemon TCG really is always adding in new elements and they're always attempting new styles, and I think the one area of Pokemon which I truly feel is excelling is the TCG. All right, I'm about to go through these reveals. Now, Ascended Heroes has it's a big step up from, especially with these reveals that I've seen, all of these cards from Mega Dream EX, the Japanese version. And, there is so much to be said about this set. These specialty sets are, they're always really good. Like when you look at, Prismatic Evolutions, Paldean Fates, Crown Zenith, these have all released, during that same late to mid-January period. And they always deliver, and they've just have they're personally my favorite release of Pokemon TCG. They just have really great artwork. When I'm looking at Ascended Heroes, there's some interesting things. Now, there's so many cards in this, dude. One of the ones are the Mega Attack Rares. Now, I love these art styles. This is the Mega Diancie, and that's a really cool card. Honestly, that could pretty much be a special illustration rare with how awesome these artworks are, but they're not. So we have these Mega Attack Rares that have come out in this Mega Evolution era, and they're just such high quality. I'm really rating this one as well, and I actually love that kind of comic book art style that they kind of brought in, because this is what Mega Evolution cards, a lot of people are familiar with Mega Evolution cards like this. So the Japanese version has English text on it, and the English versions have Japanese text. I like this new updated version of these because it's still kept true to the source of Mega Evolution cards. Even though a lot of people didn't like the style of those, like the kind of the vintage Mega Evolution cards, I really like that they still kept it, and they kept that theme. Even though it's a lower rarity, they're really cool, these Mega Attack Rares. Same thing with the Mega Dragonite, looks really awesome. I personally am going to be collecting these because they're very comic book-like, and I think just having these Mega Attack Rares in a binder really, really does stand out, and it makes it a big difference. And, I think, with seeing the quality of these and the art style of them, they look really good. And same here, you can see the Mega Hawlucha. All of them just have such a unique vibe. And of course, it is giving that comic book energy, like I just mentioned. Really makes it look good. I just can't wait, when this Mega Evolution era finishes, when you get a binder of all of these, I reckon it would look so cool. In fact, probably some of the coolest Pokemon cards that I think you can get for a binder, when you look at it through a big cohesive look. They just really fit that vibe. I think one of the things, and especially as I go through Ascended Heroes, is this kind of feels like you need a booster box. With the amount of awesome cards in this set, it just feels like a booster box would have worked so well for this, but we're not getting that. We're getting Elite Trainer boxes. One thing that I'm hoping for, and I know a lot of people are, they're really hoping for easy pull rates. We're talking Crown Zenith pull rates. I'm really hoping for that, but judging by Prismatic Evolutions, everyone thought Prismatic Evolutions would have, Crown Zenith pull rates. It most certainly did not. In fact, Prismatic Evolutions has very, very difficult pull rates, and that has put a little bit of, I suppose, a bit of it has, I wouldn't say damaged the set, but it's made a lot of people not like to open Prismatic Evolutions. One thing that happens when you have such difficult pull rates like Prismatic is people just don't see the value in opening the set, especially if you buy it above retail price. But I remember when I bought Prismatic Evolutions, I was so excited to open it. I actually pre-ordered it and I got it for retail price. And then when I received the ETB, when I looked at the market prices and then I looked at the pull rates, because I saw all that information together, I just made a logical decision. I'm like, there is really no reason for me to open this. And that's one of the issues when you have such crazy hard pull rates. So I'm really hoping for Ascended Heroes that the pull rates are much more easier, because it's going to be more fun for collectors who want to actually collect these cards. And you can actually open that without feeling like, oh, how much money am I losing if I open this set? Crown Zenith didn't really have that problem because, I opened so many Crown Zenith ETBs and it was probably the most fun opening experiences I've ever had, because literally every ETB I'd pull something, and I think that makes it such a big difference. Now look, while we're talking about some of these cards, there are some exciting releases coming up, and when you pick any of them up, it's actually very important to track your collection's value over the long term, and that's where Collector comes in, who are the sponsors of today's video. Now, Collector is your go-to app to track your collection's worth, and the easiest way is to think of it as a full portfolio hub that tracks the value of your collection and shows how it changes over time. One of the newest updates introduced a trade analyzer feature. Now, if you're at a card show, this is actually very useful because you can add what you're trading away versus what you're receiving, and you can see if it's a fair price match. One thing I love about Collector is the set analytics section, and it's actually one of my favorite tools because here I can see any Pokemon set and I can get a full breakdown of the cards, and I can also see the market movers inside the set, and it even provides a volatility score, which makes it super easy to research any set. Collector are the leaders when it comes to tracking your collection, and you can find all the details to download the app in the video's description. A big thanks to Collector for supporting the channel. Now let's jump back into it. Now, in terms of the illustration rares, they are also looking so good. I've just got a few here, but you know, the Psyduck as well, great card, man, great card. Prices of these, you know, illustration rares, it just depends on where they go. But I imagine the illustration rares will just be like your standard prices. There won't be too like, the thing is, everything matters on pull rates, right? And like the whole kind of concept of all of this, and you know, one of the things that late Scarlet and Violet era didn't do well was, you know, pull rates were just way too difficult, especially like Destined Rivals, you know, like I said, Prismatic Evolutions. Journey Together had easier pull rates, and that made the prices be a little bit more attainable. But a lot of these cards have very, very challenging chances to get anything, right? And I'm just hoping that Ascended Heroes is a different story. Here's the Medicham as well, awesome card. Really, really cool artwork as well. Very kind of like psychedelic, you know, it's drawing into the psychic side. It is a fighting type card, but it definitely looks more like a psychic kind of card because, you know, it's a dual type anyway. And I think the illustration rare is definitely looking great. Same thing with the Galarian Obstagoon. I don't think we've had the Galarian Obstagoon in any kind of artworks really in terms of like full arts. I mean, even in the Sword and Shield era, in terms of like any alternate arts, we've had nothing like that. And, you know, this was an awesome kind of Pokemon when it released. A lot of people liked it. Very cool concept as well. Though in terms of the special illustration rares, they're actually looking huge, huge step up. Really creative artworks as well. The Mega Electros EX here, you know, it's pretty much a big kind of famous Pokemon from Legends ZA. It's a newly released Pokemon, and of course, because it was Canari's ace Pokemon, that might also have, like, you know how Iono had Bellabont, this might also have an impact because, you know, she's a pretty loved character in the whole series, and like that's a really awesome artwork as well. I'm really rating these special illustration rares. I think this is already looking like a big step up from Phantasmal Flames. I was pretty open with my kind of critique on Phantasmal Flames. I felt like it was a one-horse race with the Charizard. I feel like with Ascended Heroes, you have so many cards. Even though you got the Mega Gengar special illustration rare, I still think, which I'll show you that one in a second, though I still think the other special illustration rares are definitely competing with that, which is good to see because like with Phantasmal Flames, like I mentioned, it just felt like, hey, we've got Charizard, but you know, if you pull the Mega Sharpedo, if you pull the Mega Lopunny, if you pull the Rotom, you'll just feel like, oh, I wish I pulled the Charizard. Whereas I don't think with Ascended Heroes it really gets that vibe. I think all the special illustration rares really look great. Same thing here with the Pikachu EX. I've got a feeling this card is gonna be pretty sought after. So, you know, I always speak about it, but like when you can kind of predict which Pokemon cards are gonna be expensive / sought after depending on a few characteristics. When we're looking at Pikachu, and I've made a lot of videos about this before, but Pikachu is pretty much in the top 10 Pokemon of where you have the most amount of collectors who collect every kind of Pikachu card out there. Also, Pikachu usually is featured, you know, a lot in cross-promotional material, like, you know, the Mario and Luigi, or the Poncho Pikachus, or the Van Gogh Pikachu. So because of that, you know, I would definitely be looking out for this card. I think it's an awesome artwork. I think this Pikachu EX is more interesting than the special illustration rare from Surging Sparks, a better artwork, a more unique artwork as well, and I could definitely see this one, you know, having a fair bit of a price tag on it, but it just depends on pull rates. Though given how many special illustration rares are in the set, that also has, you know, that has a part to play as well. So this one's definitely one that I'd be just keeping an eye on because, you know, just knowing my history with the TCG and knowing how many people collect Pikachu artworks, you know, it's definitely looking like an awesome one. And a cool little one here, the Iono's Bellabont. It's kind of reminding me a little bit of Prismatic Evolutions, how you had a lot of special illustration rares get another special illustration rare in this set. Now, another interesting one is the Team Rocket's Mewtwo. Kind of a different version than what we got from Destined Rivals. On first impression, I personally prefer the Destined Rivals Team Rocket's Mewtwo over this one, but of course, knowing Mewtwo as well, it also is in that top 10 most desired Pokemon. I do imagine there will be a pretty big market for this card. But what I really like about this set is that Mega Gengar isn't allowed to just take the spotlight so much. It does have a lot of competition, okay? And that's a big thing that the Charizard from Phantasmal Flames didn't have. Whereas, you know, with Ascended Heroes, there's so many cool Pokemon. You got the Pikachu, you got a Mewtwo as well, you've got a Gengar in the set, and you've also got a Dragonite, which I'll show you in a second. All these Pokemon are competing with each other, right? So that's going to make really interesting price points. Another cool one is the Mega Froslass EX. Really liking this artwork as well. You know, awesome new Mega Evolution that came out in Legends EA. Probably one of the cooler new Mega Evolutions that we got. And, you know, I do imagine that there's going to be a lot of fan love as well for this card because, you know, Froslass is a pretty old school Pokemon now. I mean, I don't know if I could use the word yeah, no, you know, it is an old school Pokemon. Came out in like 2006, Generation 4 Pokemon. So really awesome to see that it got a Mega Evolution. And, you know, I do imagine as well, in terms of these, probably actually will be one of the more cheaper special illustration rares out of the set. But, you know, if you are a collector and it is a bit of a niche collectible, will be a cool one to add to your collection. One that I'm really liking is the Mega Hawlucha special illustration rare. I really like Mega Hawlucha in general. Really cool kind of Pokemon. And in terms of, these are probably some of my favorite Mega Evolutions, both the Froslass and the Hawlucha as well. I can immediately tell that this is an Akira Igawa artwork. She's really incredible how she creates these. Very reminiscent of how she makes her artworks. And, you know, you can just tell it's a clear Akira Igawa kind of art style with this Mega Hawlucha. And of course, as I mentioned, the Mega Gengar special illustration rare, which is illustrated by Dan Chow, who also created, you know, he made the Mega Charizard from Phantasmal Flames, along with the Zekrom special illustration rare. Really cool artwork here. And like I mentioned already in this video, this, you know, initially I thought that it was going to be Mega Gengar and everything else is after that. I'm really liking Ascended Heroes because I don't feel that the Mega Gengar really can just take that spotlight, even though I do think this will definitely be the most expensive card of the set. In fact, I can pretty much guarantee that. I still think there's a lot of other cards in this set that compete with it. And that you know, Prismatic Evolutions is similar like that as well. You've got the Umbreon, which of course is the most expensive card in the set, but, you know, pulling any of the other special illustration rares, you're going to be very happy with that as well, especially a lot of those evolutions. Now, the Mega Scrafty EX as well, awesome artwork as well. Like, how cool is that? So unique, so fitting as well of the Pokemon. You know, and like I said, you know, there's so much leveling up with these artworks. They're just doing such a good job, Pokemon, lately, with, you know, creating such awesome illustrations. And this is why so many people are entering the hobby right now. I mean, so many people are loving it because it's like the artworks just get better, better, and better. And an interesting one here is the Fezandipiti EX, a very different kind of art style for Fezandipiti. I mean, when you play the games, like, I don't know, Fezandipiti isn't like some sort of, you know, like, blossoming flower kind of thing. It's a pretty rough Pokemon, right? So it's pretty interesting that they gave it this art style. I like that. You know, it's a little bit of a juxtaposition, but nonetheless, really cool artwork as well. And, you know, again, I do think that this one will be probably a more affordable special illustration rare, mainly because Fezandipiti just doesn't have that crazy kind of fan demand like a lot of the other cards in here. But nonetheless, you know, like, just showing you these kind of Pokemon and showing you the art styles, they're really great. And of course, another one, Steven's Metagross, and you can see just how many Pokemon are in this set and how many cool special illustration rares. You know, even making this video, there's just so many cards to go over, and I can't even cover all of them in this video. That's how many good ones there are. So because of that, I'm really hoping pull rates are going to be easy, because I said that Prismatic Evolutions, I was so confident that, like, Prismatic Evolutions would have had easy pull rates because there was 32 special illustration rares, and, you know, that wasn't the case at all. So right now, I'm kind of just hoping Ascended Heroes will have easy pull rates, but, you know, it's anyone's guess right now. With how Pokemon have been making pull rates lately, there's a good chance there might not be, but, you know, when you see all these SIRs, I know a lot of people watching right now are probably thinking, you know, you want all of these in your collection, right? It's probably unlikely that's going to happen because, you know, the price of these, a lot of these SIRs that I've shown you, are going to exceed, you know, 100, 200 US. So, you know, you're going to have to be picky and choosy of which you want. And just a little thing when you're collecting Pokemon cards, choose the ones you really want. Like Mega Gengar, you know, judging on any of the prices that we've seen for, like, you know, the Mega Lucario or, you know, the Mega Charizard as well, it's likely it's going to be a pretty expensive card. So that's something to keep in mind when purchasing this set. And of course, the Mega Dragonite special illustration rare. Very, very cool artwork. Really rating this one. We had so many leaks and rumors of, You know, we all knew we were going to get a Mega Dragonite SIR, but you know, we had so many kind of different artworks pop up. But this is the official artwork, and I actually really do like it. Love how you got Dratini and Dragonair in the background. I have noticed that you've also got Dragonite there as well, but I have noticed that like the Charizard also had that where you had all the evolution line in the artwork. Same thing here. I wonder if that's going to be a little bit of a theme that plays out in the Mega Evolution era. You know, that's 2 artworks so far, but maybe if we get 3 or 4 throughout this era where we get the whole evolution line in the artwork, that'll be something interesting to just like kind of pick up on, because 2 Pokemon cards so far like that, I just wonder if that's going to kind of continue. And of course, Canari Special Illustration Rare, you know, interesting kind of character. She's so similar to, you know, Iono. So that's just like, I always, like when I was playing the game, I'm like, wow, it's like a legit identical copy, even the color scheme. So, and she's also like a streamer as well. So like, I don't know like how they made that decision. Like, why would you make like a pretty much a carbon copy? So this is pretty much Iono, you know, 2.0. The only difference is she has an Electros and Iono has the Belly Bonds. But then again, you know, there is a bit of fan demand there too. And of course, a cool special illustration rare here is Surfer. Now, this is actually one card I will be buying myself because I've just picked up surfing, and dude, it is such a hard sport. Like, I've been trying to surf so much lately. I'm like taking lessons, I'm like learning everything, and I'm just like full going, like these waves just going, I'm just going in, like paddling out, and I'm like burning like 500, 600 calories every session when I'm trying to surf. But because of that, and you know, it's timely in my life, so I will be picking up this card because of that. And you know, I don't know if anyone else surfs that watches the channel, maybe you can, you know, put some pointers in the comments for me, you know, but nonetheless, I will definitely be picking up this one in particular, and you know, maybe even a PSA 10 copy as a little bit of a keepsake. Though, in terms of that, Ascended Heroes, you know, massive set. Really hoping for pull rates to be somewhat easier. There's so many cards in this set. So many people are kind of excited for it. And, you know, as much as I don't, like, I know hyping sets, people get annoyed, but, you know, when I'm looking at the quality of the set, I say what I kind of feel and I genuinely mean it, right? I said that I didn't like Phantasmal Flames. A lot of people got upset with that. They're like, Phil, how can you say that? I just didn't really think it was a good set, though I think this is a phenomenal set. So, you know, there is going to be real demand here. Will this make the scalping situation worse? You know, there's a big chance it could, right? You know, I think a lot of people are going to want this set. Though, in terms of product availability and everything and how hard it is to get, I'm not really sure. It's such a hard time, you know, to be involved in the TCG. I do have a feeling 2026 will be easier, but I think we need a few sets like Phantasmal Flames to calm the hype down a little bit. Maybe a little bit like a Shrouded Fable Journey Together. That would probably help, but you also don't want to have like poor quality just be introduced to calm the demand down. Hopefully that, you know, printing capabilities and everything can kind of keep up so a lot of us can collect these cards. But even though Ascended Heroes is looking awesome, one of the big key factors is because of the incredible illustrators behind the artworks, and I reveal the big change that's happening with illustrators in this video here. Within this video on screen, I speak deep about the big shift that's taken place in Pokemon collecting and how many people are focused on the illustrators of the cards now. If you enjoyed this video, click the video on screen and you can see me explore that topic in great detail. I appreciate you watching and I'll see you on the next video.